I'm Miriam. This is a story about my aunt and uncle, and who lived near us, because we all lived in close proximity. And my uncle came and was a house painter. He wanted to be an actor. That was his dream. And he was a house painter and gradually moved up. He became a contractor and went into a little real estate and so on. And that was rather typical. But my aunt had, in a little shtetl, she had made the wedding gowns as a teenager. She was very handy and had a lovely eye for design and so on. And she'd just done this, of course, for friends, and they all were connected. So here, she was the one in the family that was always very spiffy, very beautifully dressed, very elegant. And I remember Friday they would wash the car, and they had a car when very few had cars way back in the 20s, I guess. And they dress and come out, and it was always kind of, they made a holiday out of their presence. And this is 1948, when Israel became a state. And they, no, I'm sorry, I have to go back a little bit. Between maybe the 1920s, 1930s, they were ardent Zionists when Israel was a dream, and the whole idea of a Jewish homeland. And so they were very active, and my uncle, because he loved to be an actor and could read in Yiddish Jewish poetry and literature very well, he had this idea that he would go to all the little towns in New England, and we were Boston based, and go to all the little towns in New England and offer to read in Yiddish and do an act for them in Yiddish. And sometimes they would take me, I was a little girl, and that was a great treat for me. I mean, he would be received with great warmth and generosity, and it was fun. We'd stay overnight in a hotel. So I have all these pleasant memories of going with them to raise money for this dream. And then in 48 it came true, and Israel became a state. And a homeland. It was still a dream. There was a lot to do. But in 48 or in 49, they were invited, I'm skipping, they were invited by the government of Israel to come and be a guest of the new state. I mean, the state had all kinds of tremendous jobs to do, but they had time for some of these gestures, and they wanted to reward their old friends who had worked so hard to send money and to keep them going and to build support. So I just want to describe my seeing them off at the airport. It was, I remember, it was in New Jersey. I don't know why we had to go to New Jersey. And it was kind of a makeshift airport. And the trip was going to take 23 hours. I imagine they had to stop and refuel maybe several times or what. But I thought they'll never make it. By this time they were elderly. And I remember being so scared. And we stood there in the airport and watched as people came to the plane dressed very casually and very comfortably, as if they knew they were going to have to eat and sleep and live on that plane. And so the plane filled up, and they didn't. And then all of a sudden, they drove up in their beautiful washed car, and dressed to the nines, with high heels and my uncle in a beautiful hat and necktie, and they got on the plane, and they made it.